bigger. Are they up? Just to confirm with you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for including me. Hopefully, would help clarify one opportunity that NIHR provides to methodologies to be able to apply to NIHR awards as lead applicants. So I'm Ianina Conte, and I'm a senior program manager at the Research for Patient Benefit program. This is one of NIHR funding programs. And today I'm going to do a brief overview of what's the scope and the funding limits of the program, how our regional advisory committees look like. So hopefully that would also provide some reassurance about the assessment. And I would give you some examples of funded projects that have been led or are being led by health economists. So to start with, regarding the scope of the program, of course, being this an NIHR program, we are always, the scope is always around health, applied health research. But the program, it is a response mode and research led. So we don't specify a topic for each round, so you're very welcome to put forward your proposals for research. That, of course, would have to be on related to day-to-day practice of healthcare services and social care. We just want to reassure you that we fund research that involves a wide variety of methodology and design, and it supports qualitative and quantitative research that has a clear trajectory to patient benefit, and that is something that I would always encourage you to include in the applications. What's the trajectory? What's coming next? Even if the research is a bit upstream to patient benefit, make that trajectory clear, because this is something that the committee looks into when they are assessing the application. We have funded more than 1,000 awards so far, and that has a total more than £200 million. And one particularity of the Research for Patient Benefit program is that although it is a national program or in England, so we fund research on regional level. We have 8 regions, and we have 8 regional advisory committees that assess the applications that have been put forward from within the region. Of course, there are, except for conflicts and things like that, when we need to reallocate applications, but in principle. Regarding what we fund projects up to £350,000, and they could last for up to 3 years. However, we do have a system of tier funding that we introduced to aim to balance the likelihood of a proposal achieving patient benefit against the cost. For example, just to make it clear, we would fund up to the total of 350,000 as a tier 1 for proposals that are closer to patient benefit. And that would be, the classic example we provide is a clinical trial, because once we have the result of that clinical trial, if it proves, the intervention proves effective, we would be able to translate that and possibly implement that into practice. However, for example, if what the research is about is a feasibility trial, for example, because you need to get the answer of whether the full trial is feasible for them to be able to conduct the full trial. You see there is a step removed from patient benefits so this type of studies, we would have a limit of £250,000. And then we have the tier 3 studies with a limit of up to 150 that are proposals that tend to be more upstream towards patient benefit. And then one clarification, because sometimes I think this is confusing. This tier 3 could also be up to 3 years. They tend to be shorter because of you know, to accommodate into the funding limit, probably the 3 years wouldn't work. But anyway, it could be still up to 3 years. Regarding our regional panels, we do have in each regional panel a range of methodologies. So I wanted to make sure that you notice here that we do have health economists in every panel, usually more than one, just in case there is any disagreement. So proposals from health economists would be assessed by people with expertise in that area. And actually, I have seen already in the list of participants that a couple of people in the meeting today have served or have been serving in our committees. So thank you again for doing that. And again, if you want to, you know, actually become a committee member, do check the website, because we usually have the vacancies there. And finally, I just wanted to mention some examples of studies where the health economists have been the lead applicant. First of all, I wanted to mention that they tend to come within the tier 3 funding limit. And for example, just to flag, if a clinical trial was being planned, we could accept applications for the health economic assessment of that clinical trial independently as a tier 3 study. But usually, just to mention that, yeah, more methodological and developmental work in terms of methods applied in health research would come usually as a tier 3. So here there are some examples of people who had received funding as lead applicants, and you can see here on the right a few health economists. Actually, Tracy is currently serving as well as a chair of the East of England panel, and Elsa, who would be talking after, you know, has a lot of experience in our Southwest panel as well. And some examples, I'm going to stop and let you read the titles of very recent competitions where we have awarded projects that were led by health economists. So give you 1 second to read. That it would be much easier to understand that with my pronunciation. And lastly, I also wanted to mention that through the Research for Patient Benefit program, we run the Research for Social Care calls. And again, this has been another stream where we have found that health economists have a big opportunity and interest in submitting research. These are 2 examples. This was the bottom one has been recently funded. And actually, this is not a tier. Well, we don't have the tiers on social care, but this is actually the bottom one, a proposal that is up to almost 350,000. So then again, the limit, just to show that, you know, there are many opportunities there. And I'm going to stop here because I don't want to take more than my allocated time, but of course, I'm very happy to take any question if you have.
Thanks, Ianina. I think what we'll do with the talks is if we go through the 3 presenters, and then people can store up all their talks on their funding presentations, and we can have a nice discussion at the end. But if anyone wants to post a question in the chat about Ianina's talk now, then we can log it and you'll be the first to ask your question in the Q&A at the end. But thank you for your talk. Next, we'll move on to